Astyuttarasyam Dishidevatatma Himalayo Namanakadhirajaha Purvaparau Toyanidhivagahya Sthitaf Prithivya Iva Manadandaha. We finished with the 72nd shloka. Krodham Prabho Samhara Samhareti Yavadgirah Khe Marutam Charanti Tavatsavanhir Bhavanetra Janma Bhasmavashesham Madanan Chakara. So as soon as the Devas all saw that the result of what they wanted was not, actually it was not successful, and it brought out a very different result than what they expected. So they immediately shouted to Parameshwara saying, Krodham Samhara. No, you have to withdraw your anger so that it doesn't... his anger is something that is capable of destroying the entire world. So, tasya krodhagnistu tatra samhara rupi saha. Iti karanat, they were afraid that suddenly if he lets loose his anger, then the entire world might get destroyed here. So, as soon as the Marut Ganas, which were roaming near him, they said, Samhara, Samhara, Tavat. Before that, before he could control his anger, the Vanhi, that is the Agni that came out of his eyes, made Madana into ashes. Now, what happened after that? Rati is standing nearby. The next Sarga is actually about Rati Vilapam, how she misses Madana and how she behaves. Tivrabhishangha prabhavena vrittim mohena samstambhayata indriyanam ajnata bhartr vyasana muhurtam krutopakara iva ratir babhuva. It should be muhurtam, not muhurtam. It's not a hrasva there. Okay. Tivra abhishanga prabhavena mohena indriyanam samstambhayata indriyanam vrittim samstambhayata mohena ajnata bhartravyasana saratihi muhurtam krita upakara iva babhuva. Mohena krita upakara iva babhuva. So Rati at that moment, she did not know what happened to her husband, because the whole... see, sometimes when you're overcome with grief, it just leads to sort of a paralysis. You know, you won't know what to do and how to proceed and all that. It leads to a paralysis of all your indriya vritti. Indriyanam vrittim samstambhayata. Because it is a moham, an unconscious state that comes from tivra abhishangam, tivra dukham. Something that happens, you won't even realize that has actually happened. A calamity happens in front of you. You are immediately struck by a paralytic attack sort of thing. And
they call it the trauma. Traumatized.
Yeah. And you're totally traumatized by that. And you actually forget that such a thing happened. So that's Ajnata Bhartra. Everything will fit if we have gone through such a trauma at some point, or at least witnessed something like that. No? Then you will understand what she goes. Because she saw it, she is also dukhita. Tivra abhishanga prabhavena mohena. An unconscious state has been prompted, prabhava. It has come from the abhishanga. Abhishanga ityukte dukkham.
Attachment la abhishanga?
Sangahangardu vera. In the இடத்துல abhishanga can also be abhibhavaha. So tibra abhibhavat.
Okay.
Overwhelmed. Ama. Adum irkalam. Or you can take it as dukkham also. Attachment leads to dukkham, no? Sangat sanjayate krodha kamaha, kamat krodho vijayate. So it automatically leads to dukkham there. So tivra abhishanga prabhavena mohena, which is also completely paralyzing your indriya vritti, indriyanam vrittim samstambhayata. Because that moham has come, she does not know what happened to her husband. Ajnata bhartra vyasana. Because at that moment, nothing strikes in your mind. Only when she becomes aware that her husband is no more, that is when she will actually start acting. But that awareness has not completely set in. She sees it and she immediately goes into a moha state. unconscious state. So Ajnata Bhartru Vyasana, without understanding what happened to her husband, the dukkam or the blow that came to her husband, Mohena sa muhurtam krita upakara iva babhuva. It was as if this moha made her, by making her unconscious, it caused her, it actually helped her. In a way, it actually helped her to not feel that pain of losing her husband at that moment.
So in psychology, we have what's called dissociation.
Dissociative.
Grief causes the dissociation, and these patients don't remember the incident at all. They'll say, I don't remember what happened. So apparently what they say is the body dissociates and is hanging, it's somewhere there, somewhere out there just watching. But it doesn't register, there's no memory of the incident. And PTSD also is very much like that.
Memories can be blocked, and suddenly you just don't know, oh, did I do that? What happened? Can happen. Kālidāsa has just pictured it so beautifully.
It's so amazing that he knows. He won't have
the
done
subtlety with which he expresses it. Adudanga. Tivrabhishanga prabhavena vrittim mohena samstambhayata indriyanam ajnata bhartravyasana muhurtam, just for a moment. But then she is also a devata. She is not a normal human being who goes through all these things. So she realizes, she immediately comes out of that state also. So it's only for a moment that it's as if Moham has done her a good favor by coming to her. Atha parameshwaragatasya tatadrishasya raudrarasasya raudratu karunarasa iti nyayena. So from raudram, you automatically, the result of it on the opposite side is karunarasam. So it will be highlighted immediately. As soon as there is a raudra act happens, the flip side of it is karuna. The very difficult state that other people go through. Iti nyayena karya bhutam uttara sarge varnaishyamanam karanam upakshipati. So karya bhutam is the karuna rasam which is going to happen in the chaturtha sarga. And for that, he is giving the bijam here of describing Rati's state. So Ratihi muhurtam mohena krita upakara babhuva iva. It was as if the moham did her a favor. Atratu achetana vastu mohaha. Tatra chetanatvam tu aropyate iti karanat tatra utpreksha alankaraha. So Ratihi, Kama bharya, Kama's wife, muhurtam kanchit kalam ityarthaha. So mohena karuna vyabhicharena pralaya akhena sattvika bhavena kartra. So moham, either you can take moha as karuna's vyabhichari bhava. The other word for the or if you look at the sattvika bhava, the difference between vyabhichari bhava and sattvika bhava is there is an involuntary action is sattvika bhava. Vyabhichari bhava can be voluntary or involuntary, it depends. It can occur in whatever way you want. So Sattvika bhavas are 8 in number. Stambha, Pralaya, Romanchaha. He wants to take it to that level of Sattvika bhava because it is an unconscious state into which Rati has been pushed in. So that's why he says moha here is not just a vibhichari bhava, but it is the Sattvika bhava. Stambha, Pralaya, Romanchaha, Svedo, Vaivarnya, Vepathu, Ashru, Vaiswaryam, iti Ashtau, Stambha, Asvin, Nishkriya, Angata. From here, the definitions for each of those starts. So we have Stambhaha, Pralayaha, Romanchaha, Svedaha, Vaivarnyam, Vepatuhu, Ashru, Vaiswaryam. These are the 8 Sattvika bhavas. In that, the first one, Stambhaha, means Nishkriya Angata. You have Indriyanam Vrittim Samstambhayata iti. So Stambhaha, Nishkriyatvam. Anganam Nishkriyatvam. Pralayaha nama Nashta Samgyatvam. Both of those Sattvika bhavas are here. She loses her prajna, samgya. Sheshaha syuhu vyaktalakshanaha. The rest are all very clear because romancha is goosebumps, sweda is sweat, vaivarnyam, loss of color, becoming pale, vepathu is trembling, ashru, tears, vaiswaryam is actually change of voice, swara, sware, viswarata. Iti dasharupake. Krita upakara iva tathavida babuva. That is mohasya karanam. What is the reason for moham here? Tivra abhishanga prabhavena. Tivraha dussaha. Very difficult to control or tolerate. Abhishangaha dukkhaha. So there are different meanings for abhishanga. Abhishangastu kathyate akrosha shapa abhibhava sangeshu ahatu sajjanaha dukkhe parabhavetu aha simhaha. So this is Amarasimha. Keshava is another Kosha Kara who has said that Amarasimha talks of Abhishanga as both Dukkam or Parabhavam, humiliation. Whereas another person says it can be Akrosha, anger or Shapa, Abhibhava, Sangaha, attachment. All of these can be denoted by Abhishanga. Tasmat Prabhavaha. So Tivra Abhishangat Prabhavaha Udbhavaha Mohaha. What is the Swarupam of Moham? Karanam tu uttam.
Abhibhava?
Abhibhavaha is akramaha, overwhelming.
Okay. Thank you.
Indriyana mohasya swarupam. So first is mohasya karanam, which is tivra abhishangaha, tivra dukkham. What is the swarupam? What is the format of it in her? That is indriyanam vrittim samstambhayata mohena. This is again as an adjective to moha in Tritiya Vibhakti. Indriyanam, antahkarananam, chakshuradinam, vrittim, swasva vishaya. She may be looking at it, she may be seeing it, but she may not be looking at it. No, the manas is not there. The manas has gone completely into the moha level.
Exactly, yeah. It's involved in in producing the moha, and it's cut off from the
Indriya vritti. Yeah. It is not able to go chakshuradi dwara vishayakarena tatra parinamaha tu na bhavati.
Correct.
So along with the antahkarana, the vritti, the vyaparam of chakshus, etc., swasva vishaya vyapara, samstambhayata, completely arrested. Totally. So atayeva ajnata bhartri vyasana. She knows that something has started and she probably immediately dissociate herself. She did not know the extent of his this thing. She might have been seeing him. She is standing right beside Kama. And she must have seen him go into ashes. Still, she had no prajna of it. Ajnata, Kālidāsa வந்து என்ன சொல்றது? Ajnata bhartri vyasana. Ajnatam anavagatam bhartuhu kantasya vyasanam vipattihi. So ayameva krita upakaratva utprekshayam hetuhu. So the upakaratvam, what is that upakara that moha has done? What is the good thing that moha has done? She did not know the result of what happened to her husband. So that is the utpreksha here. Tivrabhishanga prabhavena vrittim mohena samstambhayata indriyena ajnata bhartravyasana muhurtam krutopakara iva ratir babhuva. Now he has to show what happened to... There are many characters on the stage at that point of time, right? So bhasmavashesham madananchakara. Side you have Rati and her state is described. Next is Bhutapati, Shiva. What happens to him? Finally, he will come to Parvati. Tamashu Vignam Tapasas Tapasvi Vanaspatim Vajra Iva Avarujya Stri Sannikarsham Parihartum Icchan Antardadhe Bhutapatihi Sabhutaha. Sabhutaha Bhutapatihi. Along with his Bhutaganas, whatever he created there for his, to take on a Shariram and to do this tapas, whatever he created, whoever the Bhutaganas that were with him also, Stavara Jangamatmakam, Sarvam tu Tatra, Sabhutaha, along with everything, Bhutapatihi, Parameshwaraha, Antardadhe, he completely disappeared. Why? Stri Sannikarsham Parihartum Icchan. It was as if he did not want the sannidhyam of any stri at that point of time. because he thought they will give him a chitta vikara. Two things actually in the Vyakhyana, he points out to both Parvati and Rati at that point. Parvati, because she is going to give him the Shringara Rasam, Rati Bhava, and Rati, because she would, give him that compassion, Karuna Bhava, and he will be prompted to bring back Manmatha, probably. So he wanted to avoid the presence of both types of stri there. So stri sannikarsham parihartum icchan, wanting to move away from the presence of a woman. Saha antardadhe. So what did he do before that? Tam vignam tapasaha vignam tam tapasvi ashu avarujya. Avarujya is destroyed. After having destroyed him, who was a vigna, who was the an obstacle for his tapas. Tapasaha vignam tam kamam manmatham ashu quickly avarujya, he destroyed him, he removed him. Tapasvi bhutapatihi antardade, he disappeared. There is an upama here which is vanaspatim vajraha iva. Vajraha here is not vajrayudham of Indra, but you take it as ashani or lightning. Just as how when a lightning falls on a tree, it will immediately and quickly destroy the tree. In the same way, his Krodhagni which fell on Manmatha completely destroyed him. And that Manmatha was his the vignam, an obstacle to his penance. Okay. Atha Madane Dagdhe, when Manmatha was destroyed, Dahyasya Anyasya Abhavat, there was nothing else to destroy, because his anger was also targeted towards just the targeted therapy madri. It is just one single focal point was there and that was gone. So there was nothing else to destroy. Swayameva Shante Roshe. He was not in his Samhara Murti here. Even though the Devas were afraid and they said, oh, no, and all that, he knew what he was going to do. His focal point was only on, the focus was on Manmatha and destroying. And Swayam Shante Roshe. Automatically his Krodham was pacified there. He did not let it go beyond his level. So the amount of control that Parameshwara must have is just supreme here. Devasya punarapi prakrite shante vishrantim aha. So he has to come back again to his vishranti, right? He has to come back to his original state. Swaswarupe tasya shanta swabhavam varnayati asmin shloke. So bhutapatihi tapasaha vignam tam vajraha vanaspatimiva ashu avarujya stri sannikarsham parihartum icchan sa bhutaha antardadhe. This is your anvaya here. So bhutanam patihi, bhutapatihi tapasaha vignam shariram avalambya avastitam tapo vignam tam kamadevam. It was as if the obstacle of tapas had taken on a personification. Manmatha was the personification of obstacle to penance, right? Tapas. So shariram avalambya, it had taken on a shariram and he was present there. Vajraha ashanihi. Kulisham, Hradini, Astri. The Vajram can also be the Ayudham of Indra. Vanaspatim Vriksham Iva. Just as how a lightning destroys a tree. But does he say what a Vanaspati here is? Vanaspati is usually something which does not have a flower or a fruit. Just in the stick madri irukra oru tree solluvom illaya, something which is just which doesn't flower or fruit, that is a vanaspati actually. So it is very easy to destroy such a tree which is almost which is after its fruiting season or after its flowering season, maybe something like an autumn season, it's already very dry and everything, and if the lightning falls on it, and it will immediately get destroyed. So vanaspati is that sort of a tree. It doesn't give it here. I think Mallinatha gives it in that in his Vyakhyana. No, maybe Kale gives it.
In Amarakosha, it is written that Vanaspati is Vina Pushpam Palita Vrikshaha.
Correct. That's the one. Vanaspatir na drumatre Vina Pushpam Phaladrume. So Vina Pushpam, without any, it's a flowerless tree. Yes.
Apushpad Vanaspatihi Amaraha.
Yeah. Kale gives in his notes. Correct. Anena upamanena ashu shabdoktam artham anusmarayati. So you take that ashu for both the upamanam and the upameya. He quickly destroyed. So just as how a lightning quickly, immediately destroys the tree, in the same manner. So Shantarasasya adura vichedaha prakashyate. That word ashu, because it was quickly destroyed, that is the krodhagnistu tatra jwalan bhavati iti na. It immediately subsided. The Agni completely went away, and there is a bhumika for Shantarasam here. Avarujya, avabhajya. It got completely, and the fire extinguished. Yeah. Striyaha sannikarshaha, stri sannikarshaha tat parihartum hatum icchan. Angara satrishi nari Ghritakumbha samah puman. Iti nyayena. This is what nyayam. There is no context for this. I don't know where he took this quotation from. Nari, a woman, is like coal, and puman, a man, is like a pot full of ghee. So if you put that coal inside, it will immediately catch fire. So that's what he's trying to say here. So he wants to remove himself from the presence of any woman. Devi sannikarshena mama avashyam chittavikaraha bhavishyati. Because of the presence of Parvati, definitely Shiva is going to feel some sort of a change in his mind. Because of Devyaha vailakshya vishadadi darshanena. She is going to show vailakshyam. Vailakshyam is lajja. It's her beauty that was rejected here. So she will immediately feel shame and humiliation there. So seeing that and Vishada, Dukkam on the part of Parvati, Parameshwara might feel, a change in his mind, and his tapas will not be achieved here. Kama patnyastu shoka anusandhana darshanena. Now she is just paralyzed, but then after the moment she realizes, she's going to go delve into grief here. He didn't want to be in the presence of that also. So tapasaha mahan vignaha bhavishyati iti ashankya. So thinking that there will be a great obstacle because of both of these ladies present there, sabhutaha bhutagana sahitaha sanna antardade.
Sorry to interrupt. No, just the anger also is such a, that is the way you need to get angry to this. You don't retain any remnant of the anger in you and let it fester. So that's it, it's extinguished in that very moment.
There are no fuel to fuel it further, and your thoughts are also not fueling that anger. See, generally, when there is no motivation for anger also, we still keep thinking about certain things and getting that anger up in our mind.
Yes.
Because the thoughts are still there. Whereas for Parameshwara, that chittavritti is not at all present.
Not there. Yes.
He is not someone who, he doesn't think about it. No?
Correct.
There's a difference between Parameshwara and us.
Beautiful. And what follows is he doesn't want to get entangled in the other emotions. So just cut off, just the detach.
At this point, he doesn't want it. He is very clear about it. Panchama Sarga, he comes back and he engages in a conversation with her, and he wants to, accept her. Appo, it's a different manobhava. Here, immediately, he wants to arrest all his thoughts and get back to it.
So beautifully depicted.
Kumari Kachana Mohayati Kamajeta. This is there in the entire Mukha Panchashati. If you look at Mukha Panchashati, Asho, the way he describes Kamakshi as, Kama Jetaram Mohayati iti. That's the contrast he will bring in many shlokas. Mukha Kavi has given a different dimension to their play.
But the whole thing is foreshadowed because anyhow, this is Akala So the whole thing has been foreshadowed. It's not the right time yet. Panchama Sarga is the right time.
Right time, yes. Because she also proves herself there with the tapas. That's when both of them get attracted towards each other, and that's the right time. Here it's each one is at a different level. Yeah.
Ma'am, any specific usage of the word vanaspati, like flowerless tree? Why flowerless? Can you relate or match?
Yeah, so that's what I said. When a lightning falls, then if it is a very green tree, then it's not going to quickly burn up, right? So when it is something which is during fall or autumn season, a tree during autumn season is more susceptible to lightning strikes and destruction rather than a tree which is in the flowering state and all that. This vanaspati by nature cannot give forth any flower, so it is even more susceptible. That's what.
Maybe that regret also for Rati, which he did not want to see.
That is because of chitta vikaram. He doesn't want the chitta vikaram here. Okay. So, tesham atra bhuta shabdaha sarva parichhadanam upalakshanam. Parichhada is all of the paraphernalia that he brings in. Every that's what I said. Sthavara jangamanam sarvanam api sarvesham api. What everything he takes up with him and goes. So doesn't want to leave behind anything. Tesham api swechha matra parikalpitatvat ichha abhave tirodhanam. Brings in that leela. It's only because of his ichha that he creates that surrounding for himself and he does tapas. When that ichha to stay in that place is not there, then everything that he has created also disappear with him. So it's like the entire group. There is no relevance for the other people to stay here when Parameshwara himself is absent. So that is why sabhutaha bhutapatihi tirodadhe. Evam bhutam tapovignam sadyayeva vinashya, immediately destroying that obstacle. Takshanameva shantarasa avalambane hetum tapasvi, because he is a nitya yoge matup. See, tapasvi is a person who is, it can be, matup can come there for any, there are many meanings for matup, but here for Parameshwara, that matup is a nitya yogam. He is constantly in tapas. So that's why he is like that. Huh? Okay. Shivo inarka Shivo yogarata shashvat Purana prasiddhi. Because he's the yogi. Tamashu vighram tapasas tapasvi vanaspatim vajraiva varujya strisannikarsam parihartumichan antardadhe bhutapatis sa bhutaha. The last two shlokas describe Parvati here. Shailatmaja, there is a change of vrittam. The meter has to change to indicate the change of sarga at the end. So, Shailatmajapi pituruchhiraso bhilasham vyartham samikshya lalitam vapuratmanascha sakhyos samaksham cha adhika jata lajja shunya jagama bhavanabhimukhi kathanchit. Shailatmaja api, the daughter of Himavan. She's still not Shiva Patni, right? So Shailatmaja api, she goes back to her father's place. She realizes that both her father's desire, Abhilasham, and her body, Lalitam Vapuhu, Vyartham Samikshya. She sees the failure. She sees that it is not at all, she's dejected, right? There is no use for her, both her body and her father's wishes. So, Shailatmaja, Himavataha Putri, Uchchirasaha Pituhu Abhilasham Vyartham Samikshya. She realizes her father's Abhilasham, Ichha, her father who is Uchchirasaha. He also, the moment Narada came and said, Ananya Bhajam Patimapnuhiti, when he gave her the Ashirvada that she will get a husband who is, who will only think about her, she will attain a position which nobody else will attain. तथा तस्य आशीर्वादं च श्रुत्वा he became very proud actually that Parameshwara is after all in his backyard. He is doing tapas. Let me ask Parvati to go there. Maybe something will happen, then they both will get married. So that was his mind. So Uchchirasaha Pituhu. He was a little Abhimana Yuktaha Asit Saha. So after all, Shiva is in my Bhakhyodhya. Idula varu. Mega Sandeshatla. Bhakhyodhyana Sthita Harashiras Chandrika Dhauta Harmyan. Bhakya Udyanam. It is like the Udyanam that is there in, a garden madri. Avladha. Velila. Outskirts la irukkan Shivan. Abdina, there is a little bit of an abhimana for Himavan. So Uchchirasaha Pituhu. Garvamana solla venda. I don't want to say that he was very arrogant or anything, but it's just he thought a little bit high of himself. Smug. That's a nice so he thought a little bit high of himself or attitude lerna. So Pituhu Abhilasham Vyartham Samikshya. She saw that it was in vain. His desire was also not successful. Atmanaha Lalitam Vapuhu Vyartham Samikshya. She also looked at her Lalitam Vapu, graceful body. That was also in vain. That could not attract Parameshwara. The third one is the one that, is very typical of Kālidāsa. Sakhyoho samaksham iti adhika jata lajja. This whole incident happened in front of her friends. So she felt even more humiliated. So she was ashamed because it happened in front of her friends. If it was in private, it's okay. It's just between the two of us. Ideally, typically when you have kids and the kids, you try to scold them in front of their friends. That's it. Why did you have to say it in front of them? You should, they are very clear about it. That is what made her even more ashamed. It says, Adhika jata lajja. Kimartam sakyoho samaksham miti. Because it was right in front of her two friends, Vijaya and Malini, she became even more ashamed. And then Shunya. So she was very dejected by it. So Shunya is Shunya Vritti. Manovritti. She felt very lost, and Bhavana Abhimukhi go towards her house, towards her palace. Kathanchit Jagama, that showed her dukkham itself. Somehow she decided to, she was going towards her home. Naikayaha Shushrusha Vrittantam Upasamharati. So this concludes her Shushrusha to Shiva. So this is like an upasamhara, conclusion of that episode, right? So Shailatmaja Parvati na kevalam devaha taddesha vasam ajahat apitu Shailatmaja api taddesham ajahat. She also left that place. Not only did Parameshwara leave that place, she also left that place. So Uchchirasaha maninaha pituhu. So manam Anena Abhilasha Bhangasya Atyanta Dussahatvam Uttam. Because her father is a mani, he's got too much of self-esteem there. So when his desire was thwarted, it gives an even more dukkham there. Atyanta Dussahatvam. Atayeva Pituhu Abhilasham Ityuktam Napunaha Atmanaha Abhilasham. That was not her desire. It was still not something that she desired, right? It was because her father said, you go and do seva to him. And she came. So she went back to her father. So she saw that she still had that little bit of thought that she could probably, attract Shiva with her body. Then it's only in the beginning of the 5th Sarga she decides that her body is not going to be useful for this and she has to do penance. So it was not her abhilasham, it was not her desire. If it was her desire, then she would have thought about what was the process to go about to get Shiva. She didn't think about it in that manner. She said, okay, it was dad's wish, so I'm doing. Yeah, like many of the kids who go to college today. Pituhu abhilashaha cha deva upavartana vishayah. Upavartanam is, I think, changing his mind. I think it should be Parivartanam, turning, ceasing, that is stopping him from doing tapas and turning his mind towards Parvati. That was Himavan's idea. Atmanaha lalitam sundaram vapuhu shariram cha vyartham nirupayogam samikshya. Understanding that it was not useful at all in this case. Kathan samyak avadharya, kathanchit krichrena, great difficulty. Etacha lajjayaha anubhavaha, because she was feeling ashamed. It was with great difficulty that she went back. The thoughts would be, how would I face my father? He had so much of hope on me. Those thoughts would also be there in her mind. So kathanchit bhavana abhimuki, bhavanam prati abhimuki jagama, she went towards the bhavanam. Visheshataha lajjayaha adhikyamaha. The greater part there is sakhyoho samaksham iti adhika jata lajja. Sakhyoho vijaya malinyoho. Samaksham is a avyayibhava samasa, so samipye, akshnoho samipye iti. Iti shabdaha tu sakhi sakshatkarasya lajja adhikye hetutvam dyotayati. That is in the shloka, if you see, sakhi samaksham iti lajja, adhika lajja, adhika jata lajja sa iti. So that iti word indicates that hetu. Sakhi samakshatvat iti karanat atva iti hetoho. Adhika jata lajja, atyantam lajja. Saubhagya bhangasya anya darshanam eva atyanta lajjavaham. Saubhagya bhangam, that is, her beauty was not of any use here. That feeling also, if it happens in front of another person, it's even more shameful. Kim punaha sakhi darshanam. Her close dear friends, imagine how much she would have probably had a conversation with them. Shiva, he is just a tapasa. You don't know what sort of a conversation would have gone between friends. And suddenly that is of no use, or the friends would have said, oh, you are such a beautiful person. That sort of a thing is not tatra tasya bhangaha atra iti. So it is even more difficult for her to accept it. Itham abhipravriddhasya manorathasya atyanta bhange jate sati sanjatayaha chintayaha anubhavam. So if you have so much of hope, both hers and her father, and a garvam or a thinking highly of one's own beauty, everything is suddenly just dropped there because of Parameshwara's attitude. So you'll start thinking, analyzing. When you start analyzing, the first thing you do is shunya. You have to first bring about the thoughts. Only when you are calm can you start then analyzing your actions and putting it down. You have to first, there should be no other thought in your mind. So shunya. After that only chinta will come. So the anubhava is that you are calming your hridayam, in the sense you will feeling dejected, completely lost. Then thoughts come about. So this is like being dejected is the anubhava, which is the precursor for your vyabhichari bhava, which is chinta. Okay. So atmanamapi ajanana. She did not even know where she was going, and she was going. That's why the next shloka, Himavan himself comes and hugs her and takes her in. See, sometimes they'll be walking in a way, the school bag they'll keep walking with their face down, in a way, kicking the stones and all that. Then the mother will actually run out and, say, okay, what's happened? Why are you like this? And they will hug them and bring him in, no? That's the picture you have in the next shloka. So she is Shunya Hridaya, Kathanchit, she is coming in to her house, coming towards her house. So Shokaha, Purva Anuraga Hetu Kaha. So Shoka, then Chinta Lajjecha Shokasya Vibhicharinyo, Etacha Sarvam Panchama Sarga Ado Devi Vrittanta Prastave, Sputi Karishyati. Adla Tatha Samaksham, Dahata Manobhavam, Pinakina Bhagna Manoratha Sati, Priyeshu Saubhagya Phalahi Charutanu, the first shlokam, Adla Tatha Samaksham Dahata Manobhavam. in front of her Sakhi. He will again mention that in the 5th Sarga, the first shloka. Pinakina Bhagna Manoratha Sati. Her Manoratham was completely gone. Her father is also at that point of time. So Shokaha. For that, Chinta and Lajja, this Shokam, Shunya Hridaya, becomes the precursor for that. Okay. So Shailatmajapi Pitur Uchchirasobhilasham Vyartham Samikshya Lalitam Vapuratmanascha Sakhyos Samakshamitica Adhikajata Lajja Shunya Jagama Bhavanabhimukhi Katanchit. Just one more last shloka of this sarga. We'll finish with this. Sapadi Mukulitakshim Rudra Sambrambhabhitya Duhitaram Anukampyam Adri Radaya Dorbhyam Suragaja Iva Bibhrat Padminim Dantalagnam Pratipatha Gati Rasit Vega Dirghi Krita Abhra. And then the earlier shloka was Vasanta Tilakam. Here it is Malini. Ama. Yeah. Sapadi Mukulitakshim. Immediately she had closed her eyes because Rudra Sambrambhabhitya. She was afraid of Parameshwara there. Sambrambha here is anger, krodha. Rudrasya krodhena bhitihi. Krodhat bhitihi. So fearing the anger of Parameshwara, she had closed her eyes and she was walking slowly. Duhitaram Anukampyam was also Sapadi Mukulitakshim. She had immediately closed her eyes because of fear. Duhitaram, daughter, who is Anukampya, who has to be sympathized. He is the one who sent her, no? So he has to feel sympathy towards her, and he says Anukampyam, Adri Rajaha, Adrihi, Himavan, Dorbhyam Adaya, with his shoulders. Adaya, he just took her, you know, or just hugged her in a way and took her inside. Pratipatha Gatihi Asit. He turned back. He brought her and turned back. His idea was towards Shiva. Now it is away from Shiva. So Pratipatham. Pratipatham is returning. Having taken his daughter in his arms, he went back along the same path. So Pratipatha Gatihi Asit. He was looking like Suragajaha Iva Dantalagnam Padminim Bibhrat Iva. Himavan, imagine he must, even in his human form, he must be a really gigantic person. To be, and Parvati would be a very small, even with the, attitude-wise also, he is like a person who is enveloping his daughter, right? So you should think of him as a huge person there, and Parvati, who is very small because of lajja, dukkam, everything, even attitude-wise. Adri Raja, Himavan, wants to give refuge to his daughter. So the image that Kālidāsa gives in our mind is Airavata has a small lotus on his tusk. Airavatam is Himavan here, and Parvati is like a lovely lotus there. So Suragajaha Dantalagnam Padminim Bibhrat Suragajaha Iva. Himavan was looking like Suragaja, Airavata, which is holding on a lotus, which is sticking to the tusks. Danta Lagnam Padminim Bibhrat Iva Vega Dirghi Krita Abhraha. He quickly took her in his fold and went fast into the Bhavanam. So it's you want to escape from the situation which is giving her more humiliation. So the more you lag behind, the thought will keep on coming back to her. He wanted a change of scene for her. So Vega Dirghi Krita Abhraha. Abhraha, his body was like a cloud which was moving faster. Due to speed, a cloud would just stretch itself. In the same way, he had also stretched himself so much, it seemed like he was like a abhra, like a megha, as he took her away.
So both Upakam and Upama.
Ama. Atha putryaha tadrishim dasham avalokayataha as he saw his daughter's state, Bhagna Manorathasya Himavataha. This should be Himavataha. Tatkala Uchitam Pravrittim Darshayati. So he shows what Himavan did at that point of time. Adrihi Dorbhyam Duhitaram Sapadi Adaya Pratipatagatihi Asit. So Adrihi Himavan Dorbhyam Swahastabhyam Duhitaram Putrim Anena Nisarga Vatsalya Aspadatvam. She is the most dear. You'll have to look at the first Sarga fully, how her birth was celebrated in the entire place. Right? He was very happy to get her. So, Tata Nisarga Vatsalya Aspadam. She was loved by him naturally. Etacha Sapadi Adana Prayojakam. That's why he immediately went and took her back. Dorbhyam Adanam Vatsalyasya Anubhavaha. It's the Vatsalya Rasasya Anubhavaha. It's an action that you do when you want to show your love. Express it. Right? Pratipatha gatihi panthanam pratigata pratipatha. So pratipatha gatihi yasya. One whose gati, walk, was a returning walk. So purva marga gataha tenaiva gatavan. He just came back in the same path that he went. Another, she should be walking slowly. He rushed quickly and then came back in the same path. That's the meaning for that. Pratipatha gatihi. Etacha vegena pratipatagamanam vailakshyat dyotakam. He also wanted to return back because his manoratham was also bhagnam tatra. That's why he also did not want to stay there. Not only did he want to give refuge to his daughter, he also did not want to stay in that place. So,
quickly retreating to...
quickly retreating.
Yeah, to your retreat. Yeah.
To a safe haven, like comfort place. You don't want to be in that place which is reminding you constantly. Adala the stimulants dane. You don't want that. Suragajaha Padminim Dantalagnam Bibhratu Iva Airavataha Padminim Padmam Dantayoho Lagnam Bibhratu Dadhanaha Sanna Iva Yatha Suragajaha Padminim Dantabhyam Idila Kodoru Bhagavatatla. When Varahavatara takes Bhumi out, he describes the same thing. Gajaha Yatha Padminim Dantalagnam Karoti Tatha Iti. Himavan Putrim Dorbhyam Adaya Anena Upamanena Anurupata Dyotyate. Anurupata, that's what I said, the appropriateness of it. You know, he is like a big elephant and she is like a small, Sukumara lotus, very soft lotus here.
Devyaha. Here, if someone says that elephant will be like very pride and everything, but Himavan is not like that, then there is some.
He is. Actually, he is also very prideful and like an elephant, which is very huge. You know, the attitude of him is also like that.
No, not in this situation, right? Not in this situation, he is not pride. So
now he is feeling humiliated a little bit.
That comparison is not apt then in this situation if someone.
You see, when you go to Upama, you can't compare all of the attitudes there. It's very tough to bring in everything. That's what it is. You know, he is not bringing in the bhavam. He is only giving you the picture here, visualization. How do you look at it? That's what.
So there is also Karunya Rasaha, right?
Yeah. Anukampyamna vardala. So, Rudra Sambrambha Bhitya Mukulita Akshim. So Rudrasya Sambrambha Kopaha Krodhaha Tasmat Bhitya Bhayena Hetuna, because of out of fear for that. Yes, he uses Mani in the earlier shloka, Abhimani, Uchchirasaha iti. So he may be like that, but he wants to return quickly. He is still feeling that self-esteem there. That's why he is returning quickly. An elephant is like that. Mukulitakshim, Mukulite, Nimilite, Akshini, Netre. Her eyes are closed because of fear. She's fearing Rudra's anger here. Padmini api Jalashayatu Udrita Mukulita Bhavati. When you take it from a lake, it is also closed, it seems. Not necessary. If you are looking for a closed Padmini, then yes. Generally, when we take lotuses, for puja, they don't take fully blown lotuses. They only take mukulam so that it blooms as the day proceeds. So when you take it out of the lake, it is naturally mukulitam. Okay. Devyaha tadrasha lalana yogyatvam. Why is she being cajoled by Himavan like this? It's because she is anukampya dayaniya. Vega dirghi krita abraha. Vegena satvara prayanajena dirghi kritam abram. Megha yena. Oh, okay. She is automatic because of his speed. The clouds which are, he is like a cloud in Nanche, but here he is actually taking it as tatra abhyunnata anga sanghattanat dirgi krita gagana asakta megha mandalaha. Himavat parvatam tu tatra megha mandalasya samipya eva vartate. It's very close by. So as he moves faster, his body clashes against the megha mandalam that is there, and it elongates the clouds which are there, it seems. So he stretches, or you can also say that his body is stretched like a cloud because of speed.
Beautiful.
When someone
that's beautiful. Like in the cartoons, on the if something's going fast, usually the streak of cloud barum.
What is prayanaja?
Prayanat jayate iti. Satvara prayanat jayate vegaha. So the speed, because of quickly he had to bring her in. Gati. That's all. So etacha visheshanam suragaje api yojaniyam. When the Airavata comes out of Manasarovar or from the Akasha Ganga, that is also very close to Megha Mandalam, and as he comes out with the speed, it will elongate the clouds probably. Anena visheshanena mahabalatvam mahashariratvam cha dyotyate. So both Himavan and Suragaja have a huge form and a great strength. That's how they show it, right? When you want to show the contrast, you actually show it larger than life. Atra devagata dakshayini vishaya ya ratihi tad dehatyagena karunena vichinna tattvajnana upabrahmhita shantarase vishrantim upayata. So the devagata ratihi, rati that Parameshwara felt towards Dakshayini. Dehatyagena karunena vichinna. The rati that was there in Parameshwara before towards Sati or Dakshayini, Daksha's daughter, that was gone when Dakshayini lost her body, when she committed Sati. Right? Karunena vichinna. Now Tattvajnana upabrahmhita. Why didn't he feel this Shringaram towards Parvati here? He could have, right? But he had felt so much of love towards Dakshayini, and it was completely gone when she burnt herself, and he was in Karunam. Then he had gotten Tattvajnanam. Tattvajnanena upabrahmihita vardhita vishrantihi. Right? Shantarase vishrantim upayata. That rati completely went into Shantarasam. So now he cannot think of anything else right now. So Saeva Ratihi Atra Dehantaram Avalambya Upagatayaha Devyaha Darshanadibihi Samunmishita. Now it has been slowly kindled because of Parvati. That same Rati, she has taken another form and come in the form of Parvati here. And so it is slowly transferred, but it is still in a very small stage here. Harastu kinchit parivritta dhairyaha ityeva uktam. Natu sampurnataya tatra dhairyachutihi jata. Iti tad unmeshaha darshitaha. A starting or a kindling, an opening for it has been seen. Okay, like opening the eyes. Tataha sa api chirakala parichitena shantena abhibhuta. This rati which saw a small opening, it was completely overwhelmed by Shanta Rasam, which is a long-standing Rasam in Parameshwara. So the Rati could not go into a full-blown Sringara Rasam at this point. Okay. So he is explaining that here. Why it did not reach a peak. So atha indriya kshobham ityadina tad abhibhava avastha eva darshita. Indriya kshobham, because he saw only that his indriyas were disturbed here. His manas was disturbed here. He could not think of the Shringara rasam that he had before for Dakshayani. He could not bring that to its full state. So his Shanta rasam was still in a higher state, and so that was more overwhelming than the Rati.
There is no Rati now, right?
Not now. He is explaining what happened in this situation. See, entire Rati vandadu avarukku.
Adanalda Bimboshtam.
Yes. Vyaparayamasa vilochanani. Umamukhe bimbaphaladaroshte vyaparayamasa vilochanani. So, ratehe unmeshaha. Unmeshaha na verum oru therappu nu artham. It's like just peeling an onion, right? It's just peeling off one layer, and Rati is slowly showing. But then completely, Shantarasam is more overpowering than that Rati. And followed by Raudra Rasam also. Correct. He also saw Manmatha there, and his Raudra Rasam was also there. So Raudra Rasena Abhibhavaha Abhi. So that also just Shringara Rasam has been pushed down by both Raudram and Shantam here.
Correct. Yeah.
Tasyatu madane dagdhe dahya abhavat punarapi shante vishrantihi. The Raudra Rasam which came up also went back into Shantarasam. Tam ashu vignam tapasaha ityadina tasya shante vishrantihi darshita. Punascha devyaha tapascharananantaram prachina ratihi eva unmesham upayasyati iti avaseyam. So we have to understand that when she starts doing tapas, the earlier Rati is again rekindled and he is able to experience it. It needs that time. So he's giving. My teacher would always say that Kumarasambhava is probably his last work. Because the rasa pariposham follows Dhvanyaloka clearly about how you don't let one rasa be maximized. You let another rasa come in. The play of rasa in this entire kāvyam is very beautifully laid out. It's like he has mastered that art of giving that rasa. It's not there in any other kāvyam so much, what he would say.
So he's finishing the sentence, right? Vag visheshaha kaschit asti.
Asti eva iti. Kumarasambhava.
People say Raghuvamsha is his last kavya and they say mature.
No. That is all academic interest. Okay, this is my professor's personal opinion. Another professor would say that Shakuntalam is the last work because he says in the last Bharatavakyam, he says, Mamapi cha kshapayatu neelalochanaha punarbhavam. I don't want to take a birth again. Let Parameshwara remove that Janma Punarjanma cycle from me. So that sort of a prarthana can come only at the end of his work. So probably Shakuntalam is the last, is one of my professor's opinion. Another teacher would say that Kumarasambhava is the best because he says Rasa Pariposhaha tu atraiva vartate. So each one to their opinion. Academically, they have some different opinions.
Like, why are you saying that this is it follows the Dhvanyaloka one more time?
So Dhvanyaloka, enna, when you want an Angirasa, you don't keep on describing that Angirasa. Appo vandu tehettidu. You'll feel saturated by that. So you need to have interludes of a rasa which does not clash with that. So when there is a Shringara rasam, if he had immediately brought in Karunam, then it will have been a problem. So he brought in Raudra rasa and then showed the flip side of Karunam. And then brought Shanta rasam. You can't bring in Shanta rasam immediately from Shringara also. So the way he portrays 4 different rasas in an appropriate manner And then he decides that Shringaram cannot gain prominence here. It has to be only in the fifth Sarga. And he delineates it beautifully there.
So the Angirasa here is Shringara.
Yeah.
And the Sahakare Rasa that you are talking about here are the Raudra and the
Shantarasam, Karunam.
So it's okay. So it's like a Rasa Sopanam.
Yeah. See, the third Sarga, if you see the beginning of it, from the beginning it is Shringara Rasam. Then suddenly he has to go into Rati Vilapa of Karunam in the fourth Sarga. How would he transition into that? That's why he has to bring in that roller coaster of transition. No? It's a very smooth ride that he takes us into.
And isn't that this Rasodhava, Rasa Shanti, Rasa Shabalata, all those things?
Adella varum. The Bhava Shabalata, Bhava Shanti, edhu venalum potukalam.
Bhava Shabalata, Bhava Shanti. Yeah, that's right.
But to deal with that you should know how to bring it out. No? It won't come without experience. Adnala he would say this is the... Okay, so we'll finish with this.